Good evening. I'm Brent Bailey, Executive Director of the West Virginia Land Trust, and I'm glad you could join us this evening for our Special Places celebration. Normally, we would do this in person, but of course this year everything is virtual. But every year when we gather, we present project updates and announcements, and that's what we're going to do this evening in a quick run through of what has been our biggest year to date. Normally, when we get together in person, we do have a nice big meal. We have close to 300 people gathering, and that's not going to happen. We're going to defer that until next year and hope that we can all enjoy this year a different format for seeing what's gone on. Before I run through the projects and what we've accomplished in the past year, I want to remind you that what we do is we look for conservation with a purpose when we protect a piece of property. We try to protect rivers and streams because they provide us with clean drinking water. And as you know, clean water makes great beer. We like to protect habitats, and we have a partnership with All Star Ecology to survey native bumblebees, which are declining throughout much of their range. We provide education on our preserves, where school kids can come out, school groups can visit, and we also have cultural sites, such as our Camp Bartow Civil War battlefield and a Revolutionary War site we're in the process of protecting, which offer us a glimpse into our past and our history as a state. We do our restoration on properties too. Much of West Virginia has been scarred by past land use, and we see a future in which the native forests can regenerate. So recreating those forests is important on our preserves. And of course, we provide recreation far and wide for hikers, mountain bikers, campers, people who need access to the river, a whole range of great outdoor activities that even in this time of COVID-19 are healthy when you manage to keep a distance. This year, though, to get to the specifics of our protection, the word Mammoth has multiple meanings. It not only is the name of a very small town in eastern Kanawha County, it's the name of our newest preserve, 4,800 acres, which is mammoth in size. And it's a place that has previously had mine use, but it also has good forests on it. And we hope to work with the Kanawha County towns of Smithers and Montgomery and the Kanawha County Commission in order to make the Mammoth Preserve into a recreation destination for mountain bikers and visitors from all over. We're fortunate to have partners with Appalachian Headwaters and also with other trail groups that are forming throughout the state. This is a site of restoration where we're working with Green Forests Work, a nonprofit organization out of Kentucky, which is currently working on a 300-acre parcel where they're clearing the land of autumn olive, and they're going to be replanting with native hardwood trees. This reclamation of the Appalachian forest is also a move to the future that we're excited about, though most of us will not be around to see the maturation of that forest. Tom's Run Preserve was a huge accomplishment for us this past year. We had previously protected it over 20 years. We acquired 3 parcels that comprise now 320 acres south of Morgantown. And we planned on a big opening because we raised grant funding and also received contributions from individuals to build an access road and also to put in a parking lot so that people could safely get into the preserve. Well, you can see how the preserve lies within the greater landscape, but we also would not have been able to do it without the support of folks who attend our Morgantown event, which is the Blue Jean Ball. Contributions and funds raised at the Blue Jean Ball helped us to raise that important infrastructure so that people could get into the preserve. Once that parking lot was built, folks were greeted already with 3 miles of trails that have been developed by volunteers over many years. 300 plus volunteers and more than 1,200 volunteer hours have made that possible. We've had the American Hiking Society and NCCC and AmeriCorps group as professional volunteer groups that came and supported the expansion of our trail system as well. And now it's open. And during this time of COVID, we've received so many messages of gratitude, emails, phone calls from people saying, this was a wonderful place to go to clear my head. Thank you for making it possible. And this is the kind of recreation opportunity we want to see happen throughout the state. Well, another opportunity landed in our laps when the Alma Schultz estate notified us that we were going to receive 2 additional parcels in Monongalia County, totaling 120 acres. Mrs. Schultz wanted that property to be managed as a nature preserve. It's 2 parcels, one on Tom's Run and one on White Day Creek. There was no money left in the will to us that allowed for us to expand to build a trail network or to offer parking. So we're now in the process of identifying funding so that the public can get access to these 2 great pieces of property. But with the conservation of the Alma Schultz preserves added to the Tom's Run Preserve, we will have conserved 20% of the Toms Run watershed, which is an important tributary to the Mon River just upstream of the Morgantown drinking water intake. And we're working in partnership with the Morgantown Utility Board, our drinking water provider, to emphasize to people the importance of clean water and conservation so that their water can be treated well and be safe. We were also really thrilled to receive the Piney Creek Preserve in a couple of parcels through a lawsuit settlement from a fossil fuel company that needed to relinquish some of its assets. And these assets were directed to us. The Piney Creek Preserve, now 580 acres, will ultimately have a trail network that goes from Beckley to the New River Gorge. And we'll be working with the Mountain State Trails Alliance and other local groups in order to make that happen. But it's going to create a wonderful recreational opportunity in the southeastern part of our state along beautiful Piney Creek. 2 easements in the Potomac River Valley were also exciting to us. Over a several-year period, we worked with 2 other parties who had adjacent properties to create a vision for the property and restrictions on the property, which are known as an easement, that allow us as the land trust to hold those restrictions for development and never exercise them. So these properties will always be available for the public to use, and they are now under the ownership and management of the Potomac Valley Audubon Society, a really great partner for us to be working with. They provide environmental education in Jefferson County and beyond, and we're really excited to have brought these 2 easements into protection and now with consolidated ownership under the Potomac Valley Audubon Society. The Eastern Panhandle is a really important place to do conservation, and this property offers a marl marsh, which is an unusual form of a wetland that has unusual plants, rare and threatened plants, and also very habitat-specific wildlife that uses the property. Our Shavers Fork Preserve is another exciting opportunity. Many of you may know the Shavers Fork River as a resource for native brook trout fishermen. This also is going to offer floating opportunities for folks who want to get onto the water with a kayak or with a tube and do a short float down the river from one end of our property to the other. The Shavers Fork Preserve also, of course, protects those rare riparian or unusual riparian plants, such as this sneezeweed, which is not uncommon, but it is indicative of a floodplain area, and it's always adjacent to streams. And we want to keep those places safe and keep our stream banks healthy. Quakers Landing landed in our lap, and this came to us through the generosity of the Friends Group of Charleston. This was a property they had owned, and they were looking for a good steward for it. And Quakers Landing is on the Elk River in Clay County near the town of Procius. It's going to offer a really good opportunity for folks who want to use the river to get into it, and it's a great midpoint between 2 existing takeouts. So Quakers Landing is going to create a new recreational opportunity in that central part of the state. Jenkinsburg River access is another really exciting property. It may be small in size, but it has big impact. And we're really grateful to a donor who has made this happen. And we now have permanent protection at the confluence of the Big Sandy River with the Cheat River. For years, this has been used as a takeout by the Whitewater River outfitters who are there, as well as kayakers and canoeists. And we're going to make sure that this kind of protection for that recreational opportunity is permanent. The Jenkinsburg site is adjacent also to the Cheat River Canyon Wildlife Management Area, which was another huge project that was conducted by other organizations several years ago. It's also a terminus there's a trailhead for the Allegheny Scenic Trail, which traverses West Virginia. We're really happy to be able to provide a site that offers safe access, consistent access for those people that want to use the river, and also for folks who like to go there on the weekend and just enjoy themselves. Jenkinsburg Bridge is probably very well known to many people who are WVU alums. It's a site that lots of people have visited in Preston County. And the Cheat River is just an amazing place throughout its length. And we're really pleased that we're going to be able to partner with Friends of the Cheat, really wonderful nonprofit watershed association, for the long-term management and maintenance of that site. Arbuckle Fort is a place that we are now seeking to conserve, and it, along with the Jenkinsburg site, are 2 properties that we are currently conducting campaigns for. Once you own property or acquire property, costs still come in. You need to protect the property. You need to secure it legally. You need to have boundary markers. You need to make sure that the places are maintained, that access is good and safe. And we also like to provide interpretation. And Arbuckle Fort, which is a Revolutionary War site in Greenbrier County, is one of those. Between the Arbuckle Fort site and the Jenkinsburg site that I mentioned, I'm hoping that you'll be able to consider a contribution to the land trust. If you go to our website, wvlandtrust.org/donate, you can contribute to these projects and help make their long-term conservation a reality. Cove Mountain Preserve came to us through our friends at the Nature Conservancy, who received it in a will. It's outside of their priority areas for conservation. We were really excited when they contacted us and said, how about 500 acres in Monroe County? And we said, absolutely. We see this as a future recreation site. We need to determine local partners who will help us with it. But right now it's a beautiful high ridge protected area. It's within sight of Peters Mountain in the southeastern extreme part of the state near the border with Virginia. It's almost within the viewshed of the Appalachian Trail. We think that Cove Mountain Preserve is going to be a great place for people to visit, and maybe at some point even a spur from the Appalachian Trail. It's got a really great landscape, mature forests, and a carriage trail that many people will enjoy walking along. The Boy Scout Preserve was another easement that is a 1,600-acre parcel of protected land within the 10,000-acre Bechtel Summit Reserve. We worked for several years with the Boy Scouts to identify the way that this would be reserved only for non-motorized recreational use. So it's got primitive use opportunities for Boy Scouts to use, but it won't be subject to any of the higher end recreational development that's been noted and has been exciting for the Boy Scout Preserve and the 100,000 Boy Scouts every year who visit Jamboree, as well as other people. But the preserve now has 1,600 acres of wilderness that will regrow, formerly mined property, but it will recover. And we're excited to be the stewards of that easement for the long term. And finally, Joe Golden and Peggy Burkhart are two friends of the organization who have a farm in Summers County that is near and dear to their hearts, and they wanted to ensure that it's never going to be converted to anything other than farm use. So they asked us if we would hold an easement on their property that does restrict its land use to always be within a farm. And that's the way that we've done it. We love working with private landowners like the Burkhart Goldens, who have a commitment to conservation and who see that the land trust can be the long-term partner for the effective conservation of that property. It's been a big year, and I hope that you will celebrate with us tonight. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you in person next time.